Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another political episode. This is a little late, but seeing that the media is still focusing and paying attention on this, I'll at least address it. Um, so most of us know that Nancy Pelosi's husband is critically injured, um, who has been beaten twice by a hammer by an individual. This individual has stated he is mentally ill, which definitely does not justify the reason he penetrated into the speaker's house, the speaker's home, in other words, and harmed her husband. This is very disturbing. And I want to mention to you all that everyone should be outraged, not just Democrats. It doesn't matter if the House Speaker is a Democrat. It really doesn't matter. Republicans should be just as outraged as Democrats. We do not break into politicians' homes and threaten their lives and their loved ones' lives, no matter how much we hate them or do dislike them. Now, this has happened before. This is sort of the Democrat version on the attempted assassination on Brett Kavanaugh, when back in uh, before June, a young individual, at least 18, 19 years old, who was armed, was planning to assassinate the Supreme Court justice. Um, he actually ultimately was caught and no harm was done. Ultimately, the difference between this case is there was harm. The husband, Paul Pelosi, is in critical danger and basically is now on. I don't know. He's still in the hospital. And we're hearing more detail after detail after detail. But what I'm seeing more from a lot of resources here is we're seeing from CNN, MSNBC, ABC, and other left-wing news networks. They're doing exactly what the Republicans did, Fox News and the Republican media, conservative media did when Brett Kavanaugh's life was in danger. They are fantasizing on it. They're reflecting on it. They are kind of pushing in a message here. And we don't know what the objective is. Republicans are saying Democrats are somehow dramatizing it, and it is very, very understandable to dramatize because, first off, this is an elected official. We don't break into their homes and we don't threaten their loved ones or themselves. So Republicans and Democrats should be outraged, and together we should be, as one, outraged at the situation. Thankfully, this is the case. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has he slammed the attack. He slammed and condemned the this attack on Paul Pelosi, and he wished the House Speaker and Paul Pelosi himself good, praying for his recovery. And we should all be praying for the recovery of Paul Pelosi, regardless if we hate his political position or his wife's political position. Doesn't really matter. He's an elected official. We have to treat them with respect. We can dislike them. We can say whatever we want about them. We just can't threaten their lives. Because ultimately, and what we should be here, this ultimately, I'm seeing here, a lot of politicians, Obama and Biden, they stood up and they're condemning the attack, and they're somehow blaming the GOP for this. And the truth is, the GOP had nothing to do with this. We are outraged at the GOP. We're not mad at the GOP. It's not their fault. Now, if the GOP said, a Republican politician say, hey, here's a hammer, go into Nancy Pelosi's house and hammer her, then yes, that'd be absolutely their fault. But they didn't do that. This was a man a man who has some mental illness got riled up out of the blue, a little couldn't control himself in his anger, and reacted the wrong way. And because of this, he's in jail. We condemn the attack. Republicans and Democrats together condemn the attack. Violence is absolutely not the answer. So it really annoys me. And it's the same thing when each party goes, oh, this is your fault. Because, how is this party's fault? Because the attacker's affiliation was this party. It doesn't really matter. The GOP wasn't supporting the attack in any way. They condemned it. A majority of members condemned the attack. And now it's being taken care of. Done. So, Democrats, ABC, CNN, I bet some are using, hey, are we going to benefit from this? We're going to push this objective so we can win the election? Could they win the election from this? No. Nope. They're not going to happen because the Republican Party is surging in the polls. Ultimately, that they are favored in winning. Now, if this 100% was beneficial to the Democratic Party, we'd see those poll numbers being more even. That's ultimately not the case. So, yes, I deem this issue not controversial because we know this was wrong. It was blatantly wrong. And I'm kind of baffled if anyone thinks going into the speaker's house and hammering her husband is okay. So, we ultimately are standing in the middle ground together, condemning this attack on the speaker's husband. So, it doesn't really, like I said before, doesn't matter if this individual was a Trump Republican. Trump didn't give him a hammer and told him to go and hammer Nancy Pelosi. There is no source out there that said he did that. So, what do you think of this issue? And ultimately, I am very annoyed. You could tell when each party blames each other for something that's totally not their fault. Same thing, vice versa with the Democratic Party. Republicans should not be blaming the Democrats for stuff that they couldn't control, or you have thousands of members. One of them, I bet 30% of them are radically crazy on both sides, and they're going to do extreme stuff. This very well could have happened. A anti-Trumper could have entered the Mar-a-Lago and hammered Trump or Ivanka or one of the Trump family. They could have done that, and this would be the same issue. So ultimately, is this establishing this and not in a biased ground? This is a fact. This is not the Republican Party's fault. Reasons? They did not give him a hammer to do so. They didn't give him instruction. And ultimately, they were outraged and they responded the correct way. Same thing with the Democrats. So, and will this cause a Democrat wave? No, it won't. Truth? Because I just said it's not the Republican Party's fault. Vice versa. If Democrat entered and hammered Trump down, that wouldn't be their fault. She might be a Democrat. But Democrats didn't give him a hammer, instruct him to go hammer Trump to the ground. Didn't do the same. So ultimately, 100%, this was a condemned issue. We automatically was very well wrong. No justification whatsoever. So I encourage everyone from the right and the left to pray for the husband of Nancy Pelosi, that he may be healed, and that justice may be served, and that we can drop the blame game, because guess what? The blame game divides us. It doesn't really matter, because if you go down past politics, okay, this guy, let's just say, is a Baptist going into religion. That means Baptists are to blame too. This is the radical agenda. This is radical. We have to look past the radicalness and come together as a country and condemn it, despite what political affiliation they are from. It doesn't matter. So, now I can't say they are doing this, so if Dems are trying to push this objective, it's a flop, okay? It's not going to work. Ultimately, it won't work. Democrats are already low in the polls. So conservatives that are worried about the American outrage would turn to Democrats' favor. It's not going to happen. But as of right now, they're not soaring in polls. We all condemned it. Ultimately, the economy is remaining the number one issue on the ballot. That is the most favorable issue. And that's the issue that most Americans want to see taken care of. And so, yeah. Ultimately, Election Day is in 5 days. And Americans are getting suspenseful. Change could potential change or just remaining the way it is. The result is just around the corner. So, as I will let you know, I'm going to do one big video on the results, the election results. Whenever that will come out, it's probably going to be big, so it won't be out for pretty much a week or two. So yeah, the one big video of results will be after, obviously, Election Day, and when all the election results will be certified. Anyway, this is it. Thank you all for watching this episode and this message, and I'll see you guys in the next one.